Yeah. So I like what you just touched on. Basically, the awareness of mortality. It's like you had this experience, and then it kind of, forced you to look at your life. And not everybody has to have that, which is great. Like we can learn through other people's stories, right? And as doctors and healthcare professionals, I mean, anyone listening to this probably already has a greater awareness of mortality than the general population. And so that can be a motivating force. It can be an incentive. And so then you're in that place. Then I think whether it's journaling or some other form of introspection, some kind of forced stepping back, and everybody's busy. I know people don't have time, but, however you get time, even if it's a few minutes a day, really asking yourself, okay, what matters? What matters to me? And, we're talking about purpose. So maybe even it's kind of like, why am I here? What can I do with my life? And you can approach that through a variety of lenses, right? You can approach that through a spiritual perspective, or just through lifestyle, your own backgrounds, the gifts that you have and the skills that you've developed, the interests that you have, even if your interests are kind of esoteric or you think like nobody else cares about that. I mean, this is often a sign of like, here's your quest. If there's something you're really excited about that no one else understands, a lot of the stories that I wrote about in the book, they sound a little bit random to some of us, but then you actually talk to people and you hear like how passionate they are about these things and how like whatever this thing is has affected their life. Again, that's something that I think you should pay attention to.
And
Hey, this is really good. So let me jump in if you don't mind. I just saw something else because we're talking about your quest. This is another clue. You kind of you identified a problem. You identified something that troubled you. And this is good because you used that word passion earlier. I find that people get a little bit hung up on that word sometimes. And they're like, well, I don't know what I'm passionate about. Like, I don't know how to follow my passion, like whatever that is. So in some of those cases, it's actually helpful to approach it from the other way and say, okay, not what am I passionate about? What am I excited about? But what really troubles me? Like what bothers me about the world, right? And then you identify this problem, which of course in healthcare, there's no shortage of problems, no shortage of things, that need desperately to be improved. And then you think, well, who is qualified to address that? Who is qualified to improve those things, from the inside out? So that's also a great way to say, okay, it's not just about, me going to play golf in every golf course or something, or this guy visiting every country in the world, but there's actually this legitimate problem that I can address. I'm excited about addressing that. I'm really troubled by it, and I feel like I can provide an answer. That's a great way to do it.